I was playing Polyroll recently, and I noticed a design decision that I thought was really interesting. A microgame at the end of every level. 2D Sonic seems to be the main inspiration for Polyroll, but in 2D Sonic you go from level to level with no interruptions, whereas Polyroll has introduced two interruptions, a world map and this microgame. So why is it here, and what's it doing? I think it adds variety in a small way, and I think that variety helps the gameplay feel fresh moment to moment. Like Chow Garden in We Don't Have Time, I'll Be Here All Day. Okay, one thing, Big the Cat is misunderstood. Moving on. It got me thinking about the first time I saw an end-of-level microgame, which was in Kirby's Adventure, and then something clicked for me. See, Kirby's Adventure has been one of my favorite games since before I knew it was Kirby's Adventure, and I have never really been able to pinpoint why. The level design seems to be, here are a bunch of enemies, and there aren't really stage-specific elements to make the levels feel different. And yet the levels do feel different, and the adventure is exciting moment to moment. I attributed this first to the variety in backgrounds. You're hit with a lot of colors in this game, and I figured my kid brain was just like, ooh, pretty. But this end-of-level microgame made me realize it's not just the backgrounds. Kirby's Adventure brings variety to every aspect of its gameplay. Like, let's look at World 3, and we're only gonna talk about how the camera scrolls. 3-1. Horizontal, no scroll, horizontal, vertical up with no scroll subroom, horizontal reverse. 3-2. Vertical up, free scroll with no scroll subroom, no scroll, no scroll. 3-3. Free scroll, horizontal, vertical up with a no scroll subroom. 3-4. No scroll, vertical cutscene, no scroll, vertical up. 3-5. No scroll, horizontal, reverse, no scroll, no scroll. 3-6. No scroll, horizontal, vertical up with no scroll subroom, horizontal, vertical up. Boss. No scroll. This is just one aspect of the variety, but there's so much it glosses over. Like, remember those free-scrolling sections in 3-2 and 3-3? They are technically free-scrolling, but you're kind of forced into this narrow zigzag, so they're very different from the free-scrolling in, say, 4-3 or 6-3. But also, they're different from each other, since this one is more horizontally oriented and this one is more vertically oriented. They appear the same on our scrolling chart, but there's still variety here. And there's variety in intensity. In 3-5, you have these two no-scroll rooms right in a row, but one is a mini-boss, which is very intense, and the other is just a demonstration of what the hammer power-up does for some easy heal items, which is less intense. And it doesn't cover the variety of gameplay. Like, the standard mini-bosses play very differently from other no-scroll rooms, and from the Mennonite Army mini-boss. Speaking of, even going through as efficiently as possible, you will face 3 mini-bosses, or 4 if you count Mennonite's Army, in these 6 levels. You'll face an additional 2 if you explore 3-2 and the world map. That's 5 or 6 counting Mennonite, mini-bosses, and only 6 levels, and not to mention the world boss, but I think that's intentional. The gameplay around bosses and mini-bosses, almost like the microgame at the end of each level, feels very different from ordinary platforming. Variety is the name of the game, and Kirby's Adventure feels exciting because it keeps changing the backgrounds, the scrolling, the room layout, the intensity, the gameplay. I'm rambling. Here's what I want to do. I'll prove my point by walking through 1-2. Or really, I want to walk through what happens after you leave level 1. You're brought back to the world map, which feels very different from the level before. It's safe, you can scroll in every direction, and there's a choice now. 2 doors have appeared. I would argue that the gameplay on the world map feels more exploratory, even if just in a small way. So first let's do the minigame, which bears no resemblance to the main game and provides a nice pacing break. Back to the world map, and now to level 2. Level 2 is an immediate increase in intensity from the world map in the minigame. It's also an example of how the powers are going to be introducing variety. You left the first level with one of 4 powers: standard, inhale, beam, electric, or fire, and oh, here's a 5th power. And there are different ways to tackle each of these obstacles. The different powers and different ways to play mean the level feels different even from itself from playthrough to playthrough, and if you're experimenting with the different powers and the ways around obstacles, it can feel different moment to moment. Notice the background, we're in a field. You grab the star, and we go from a horizontal room to a vertical room. Now, I know this room is just a cutscene, but I would argue it feels like low-intensity gameplay. Sonic is known to do this, have mini cutscenes that feel like gameplay, loop-de-loops, corkscrews, etc. You're not doing anything in these moments, but they help you catch your breath. Some of the wheel segments in this game do the same thing. This room maybe feels less like gameplay than the wheel segments, but it still feels like gameplay, and it's a break in intensity, and it's whimsical. I love it, and notice the background shift. I want to say, sandy garden. Background shift again to a mountaintop. This is a horizontal room, but the screen locks here for a mini-boss. Oh, a 6th power. Back to a horizontal room with a new background, by the way, a cave. Vertical room, new background, and new power. Microgame, world map. In terms of things I was trying to track, scroll goes free, no, horizontal, slash no, horizontal, vertical, vertical. I know my methodology is inconsistent here since I'm counting the microgame here, even though I didn't when we analyzed world 3, but yeah. And also notice background, 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 background. Intensity is somewhat subjective. Let's call this high intensity since you could die and it's somewhat difficult, and let's call this medium low intensity since there's a prolonged challenge, but it definitely won't kill you. I'd say it goes low, medium, high, low, high, medium, high, low. Again, subjective, but it's definitely changing. In terms of gameplay, there's 1, 2, 3.5 rooms of what I would call core gameplay, 2 activities that feel core gameplay adjacent, that would be the world map and the mini-boss, and 2 totally out of left field minigames. And then the obvious, there are 4 powers coming into this level, counting your base ability, and new power, new power, new power. And all that in about 3 minutes. So, what's the point? I guess I wanted to use this video to talk about some of the ways Kirby's Adventure introduces variety. The end of level microgame, the world map minigames, the world map itself, the scrolling, the intensity, etc. I know these have been talked about elsewhere, but I guess I just thought maybe it was time that we give Big the Cat the love he deserves. You're not supposed to play it all at once. It's a break from the action. Oh, you're still here? Good. I have more things, but not about variety, just good game design. I love the way Kirby introduces new powers by having Kirby try them out. But then certain powers need rooms designed to show you what they do. Like the game can't show you what the crash or music abilities do because they just clear the screen. So this room is designed for when you get the first music power, with the Waddle Dees up top for you to kill. It kind of reminds me of some of the designs around that first crash power we saw in 1-2. And here, the laser animation shows you that lasers bounce off corners, and gives you a free 1-up. Oh, and since this video was about 1-2, want to learn a secret? See the star? Now you don't. Oh hey, what's this?